we have to create the right vibe, you know, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Purely Arsenal FP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to a North London Derby special edition of a Purely Arsenal sit-down podcast. We're here to review the 4-1 drubbing again this season of Tottenham Hotspur, relegation-stricken Tottenham Hotspur. Hopefully, Neil Shah with me to discuss all of the happy moments over the weekend. How you doing, Neil?
Oh, mate, very good, very good. Could this be it? Could this be the ultimate season? We win the title and they go down. How about that?
I didn't even. I mean, the teams down there are so bad that I've not even contemplated it, to be honest. In that, you know, on their side, and I think most sort of objective fans, you know, when you hear them talking, they're like, no, I don't think they'll go down. The teams are so bad down there. But what is quite funny is their fans believe they might, and that is really funny. That really, you know, even just the thought process from them. And I found the whole atmosphere thing quite interesting yesterday. I know you didn't watch it live and then you watched it back, but it was actually quite interesting. So I thought, obviously I wasn't there, but you can get a vibe sometimes. You can get a vibe for what it's like, you know, from watching it on the screen and stuff. So it was just really interesting. Look, I mean, we had this really disappointing result against bottom of the table in midweek, 2-0 up and threw it away, 2-2 draw, and it was really disappointing. And I think a lot of fans and, you know, pundits, etc., and maybe even Arsenal fans to a degree went into this sort of, you know, dreading it, especially, you know, we've not performed great in the league over the last few, and we've, you know, you can't drop leads like that against the bottom of the league teams. It's just really disappointing. And City obviously are on a bit of a run at the moment as well, and they look like they're coming into their best form. So, well, last game of the weekend, you know, all of that stuff, and it's the derby away from home. So I think going into this, I was dreading it, to be honest, especially after Wednesday night. I was really worried. New manager, you know, they clearly had focused all their attention on trying to build their team as much as they could for this game. Sacked their manager that had been, let's be honest, sackable for 3-4 months before that. They decided to do it with their 12 days rest. I think we'd had 3 games since their last one, I want to say, Neil. You know, they did they pulled out everything, didn't they? All the stops. They got the guy on the tannoy trying to intimidate us, which is so Tottenham. They did put a tifo up that wasn't a tifo. It was just a piece of paper. You know, the lot. This was their cup final, as it always is, but maybe even more so this season, in the sense that they've got nothing to play for in the league, really. Let's be honest, other than fighting for, you know, staying in the league. They're out of both domestic cups. Sure, they're still in the Champions League, but really, you know, when you're down there where they are, a couple of wins gets you out of it, really. And that I think they would have been looking at this thinking, you know, let's get a manager in who can do that. Interesting appointment, Igor Tudor. I mean, the only thing I would say about him that I know is that he's won every debut game that he's managed, so I thought that might have been a factor in them bringing him in, but I don't think he's got great credentials as a manager. It's a very odd appointment, I have to say, but I mean, they obviously, you know, brought him in for this moment. But Neil, I mean, from Wolves, we didn't make as many changes as you might have thought with such a disappointing performance. I mean, we only brought in Trossard for Martinelli. Martinelli was disappointing against Wolves, and we brought in no, we didn't. We brought in Eze, sorry, for Madueke, and shifted Saka out to the right wing, which was a really interesting one. I didn't anticipate Eze starting this game at all, so absolutely fantastic to see. What a performance he put in this game, Neil. I mean, I think we should just touch on the result itself. I thought it was our best performance in the league, possibly since the last time we played Tottenham, which was around November time. To be honest, I might be missing one or two there, but I think it might have been. I actually think it was a terrific performance from us. They're all over the place, of course, but it was a really terrific attacking performance from us, where all of our attackers, I felt almost all of them, were really on it, and I felt we were really front-footed from the get-go. And it's been a while since we've been able to say that, Neil. But brilliant to win the derby and smash them again, wasn't it?
Maybe mirrored the score as well, which is brilliant. It's lovely to 4-1-1-4, perfect symmetry. Someone with OCD, that's what dreams are made of, mate. Great performance. I mean, I think more so given the fact that what you just said about the disappointment of Wolves. I don't think, was it one of you that put in the group chat, that's the first time that's happened for forever almost, where the leader of the league loses to the bottom of the team when they're 2-0 up or something. Not lose, sorry, drops points to the bottom of the league team. So, not another unwanted record that we could have done without. But that was terrible. That really did feel like a gut punch, where we potentially might not be able to recover from. And what I loved about it is the way we did recover. The way that a lot of the fans, including me, I speak for quite a large majority, very, very upset after that, really disappointed with the players, disappointed with the manager, the whole thing. And then to have the lads come out with so much pressure on them, manager included, come to, let's say a very, very difficult away fixture. Because no matter what form Tottenham are in, when it comes to the North London derby, the football goes out the window, Jack. So to come back and recover from only what was a few days before, a very disappointing result, and then not only to win but to play the way we did, as you alluded to, was something to really kind of be extremely positive about. And I'll just right off the bat, I'll say that we'll obviously talk about Eze and Gyökeres. I know it's Gyökeres, but I'm going to call him Gyökeres until the last day of the season when we're lifting it. I'll just mention Saka and Timber, because I think Timber probably had his worst game against Wolves, although he's been probably immaculate all throughout the season.
He's tired, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's probably more tiredness than anything else. But Saka has had a bit of heat on him. But I thought those two were very pivotal in the performance. They were exceptional on that right-hand side. They were giving Tottenham many, many problems, which gave us a lot of the opportunities, of which some of which we took. So I think let me give those two a shout out. Of course, there's many others, but I wanted to mention them right off the bat. But I was so pleased, and what that does, it just keeps that little bit of pressure on City. I'm not expecting City to just capitulate now and think, oh God, Arsenal are back and they're going to win it. We're going to see this right through to the end. It's going to go down to the wire now. But what we got to keep doing is just keep winning. Just got to keep the pressure on as much as we can. We got another tough one, next one as well. So glad to get this one out of the way. And of course, it's just a sweetener that it's Tottenham.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that. Agree with the right side stuff as well, because I've been quite vocal about my criticism about Saka across the course of this season. But in this game, despite the fact that he doesn't have his finishing boots on, he's not had those on all season. He did all the Saka-like things that I wanted him to do. He was dangerous. He was irritating to Jed Spence. He was a huge part of the reason we started the game so well. It's always the one thing with Saka you'd always say about Saka at his best was when games were at 0-0, he was always the first one to, give me the ball. I'm gonna take it from here, kind of thing. And I think we've lost that a little bit at times this season, but he had that in abundance in this game. And it it goes. I mean, even as first, I think it was a couple of minutes in, he gets past Jed Spence and puts a cross on Victor Gyökeres, as he said, and you felt from that first moment, he had Spence's number. And it really went on that way all game. Really, he tormented them, and I was really disappointed with Saka in midweek. I think I don't want to ever accuse anyone of feigning injury or anything like that, but I do think there's a large proportion of games sometimes where Saka makes an impact with a goal or an assist, and then he does not complete the 90 minutes for whatever reason. And I think there are a lot of games where he's always playing in the next one after that, and I don't like that. For me, I really don't like it. I mean, if you're genuine, like in this one, there was a genuine concern, and we're still concerned a little bit for an injury his ankle went up. That's different. But when you're sort of, you're coming off, you're just, if you're going to be our talisman, you're going to be our key man, our star boy, our highest wage, all that sort of stuff. That comes with responsibility for me, and you've got to, you want to be the best, then you've got to be out there as often as you can for every minute. Let's not act like, it's not, we're not at the point anymore where we're sort of going, oh well, Saka's played 90 games in a row here or anything like that. Plenty of time where he's not been in the team and things like that. So for me, you're on it. I want you to deliver it for the whole 90. And in this one, you know, he did. You know, I don't know if we might have taken him just before the end from Madueke, but you know, he was fantastic for the whole time he was on the pitch, and I just want to see more of that from him, really, because he's got it in him, you know. But Neil, I mean, it was a big moment for Eze, because apparently, I mean, did you read Arteta's comments after the game about Eze? It was quite interesting. He kind of said that, not that they had a falling out, I don't want to exaggerate it, but that Eze was clearly quite upset with him after not starting against Wolves, because obviously he started Saka against Wolves, and he said, I could see that he wanted to prove something. He was upset, even with me, because I didn't play him the other day. I'm starting to understand how to get the best out of him now, and I don't know if that's related to, you know, igniting this frustration in him, or that he sort of found something positionally, or how to use him, because obviously he utilised, you know, he was fantastic in this game. Either way, he gets to start, and it's a, you know, I don't know if it factors in, Neil, the previous Tottenham game, if he's looked at that and gone, well, and he does have a habit. I mean, I think this is his 8th goal in the last 5 games against Tottenham with Palace and Arsenal, so he's got a real knack for it. That stat saying that he's got one less open play goal than Harry Kane is just what James sent in the text in North London derbies after only playing 2 of them is a tremendous stat, I have to say. But Neil, I felt he not just his goals, but he was just really clean with his use of the ball. He never takes the extra touch. Honestly, in games like this, when he starts to drift left as well, he really reminds me of Pires, like in some of his movement patterns and his way that he sort of checks and goes and stuff like that, like he did to Paulinho in the second half. But that first goal, it's brilliant from Saka. A little lucky maybe, but brilliant from Saka. But it's such great improvisation. I don't even know if he meant it or not, but I think whatever it is, it's just really great improvisation. And I don't think you get that kind of instinctive finish from an Odegaard in that position. Certainly not at this moment in time, you don't.
No, you don't. I think I didn't touch on it, and I'm actually pleased that he was there in place of Odegaard. I mean, Odegaard has been stuttering as well. You mentioned Saka, but we've not seen the best of Odegaard this season either, have we, Jack? Not by a long shot. So I was actually pleased for that change, or the fact that he was starting and he was in that position. I think with the first goal, I mean, you talk about, you know, that he was very, very pretty much doing that all game. If you think about, I think it was just before the first goal, he laid off another beautiful pass to Saka. I think that was it was just, and it was first time pass, very quick. May have been from Timber, I can't recall, but I don't know who laid it off to him, but it was literally just one pass and it just cut the defence in half. It really did. And Saka was onto it, and it was unlucky, Saka. So I think he just had 2 defenders right on him straight away. He couldn't get his shot away. That was just before the goal. I think a little bit before the goal. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And then with the goal, or that might be before the second goal. So, I'm just basically trying to put it in there. My head's all muddled, sorry, but because there were so many moments like it. But he did do something of that effect, which just told me when I watched it back, I thought, wow, he's just instinctive, isn't he? He knows what he wants to do, and when he's on form, this is Eze all over. We always knew there's a great player in him. It's just to see it consistently. But if you think about it, I read a stat that since the North London derby, the goals were his first shot on target in this game, and he's only played 360 minutes. Although he started in 8, he's only had 360 minutes in total. So he's not being given the time. So there is something to maybe want to read into that or not, but there's something there. But the goal was tremendous because it did look clean. It did look a bit messy when you see it first time, but to reach, it kind of fell through a little bit nicely. I think Saka got a little bit lucky when he beat his man.
He did a little bit. Yeah. So
we'll be honest. We'll give Tottenham that. He got a little bit lucky, but sometimes you got to ride your luck in these situations, Jack. When you are position, you're fighting for the title. But he still did well with recovery, and then he got the ball to Eze. And I think again, he didn't really know much about the way the ball kind of touched him the first time, but it's his control and his instincts to then the way he reached for it. His leg was quite high up in the air, and it looked a bit awkward, looked a bit uncomfortable to me, but he managed to get a good clean hit on it, and that was it. Bang, we're away. And he, you could see that the happiness in him, and it's almost just like, look, I'm here. Play me, Arteta, play me, boss. So wonderfully pleased for him. And then I think that just set us away. But then, things didn't go quite to plan, only for a little bit. But I'm so pleased for Eze, Jack. So pleased.
Yeah, no, really pleased. He does have a knack for that. I think he scored against Palace this season as well with a volley, wasn't it? Like a sort of scissor kick volley. He's got a very good instinctive volley. He's had a few of those that haven't gone in, but have been very close this season from my memory as well. But yeah, really encouraged to see him have a huge moment. He clearly loves playing against Tottenham, but he also was fantastic overall. I think you might be talking about the third goal actually, because he's a huge part. I mean, he scores it, but he's a huge part of the reason that chance comes about. So we'll get to that and this sort of his pass to Saka for that one as well. But like you said, we've got this odd habit, Neil, of and we did it against Wolves, of scoring and then immediately conceding. I don't know, there's some stats out there on us doing it a ridiculous amount of times this season within like 10 minutes of scoring or something. And oddly enough, when we score, Declan Rice is the one, pointing to his head and saying that, but it's almost like he had to give himself a talking to a little bit. And my brother's been quite critical of Declan Rice recently and saying, when he comes out and speaks and he feels like it's maybe he over dramatises things, like with some of his comments in the media and some of his maybe post-game comments that get caught on the camera and stuff like that. And I have to say, I don't always love I don't always love his sort of his comments when he sits down and does interviews. Sometimes I think he almost speaks too closely, like from the heart almost, and it's almost like he's just so open, And I'm like, so we don't need to know all of this, Declan. Keep some of this under wraps. We don't need to know all the conversations you're having with the teammates. Just keep it under wraps and do it on the pitch. Fantastic player. I actually thought he was very good in this game, but he makes two absolutely brainless errors, and they're both the same error, Neil. And this was one of those, when I was watching it live, when I knew he had scored the moment Declan Rice gave the ball away. I don't know how, but I literally I don't know what I threw down, but I was just like screaming at the moment. And it's just, I think we've conceded, someone gave the stat earlier, we've conceded 8 goals, I think, since the start of January. And I want to say like 4 to 5 of them have been from just self-inflicted errors, and the others have been from long-range efforts, like worldies kind of thing. And we've got to eradicate it. And it's not just Declan Rice. We've seen it in the first game against Tottenham with Zubimendi, and and it's not just Declan Rice. But again, you are what many people look to as sort of the on-the-field captain and things like that. And it's not really he wins the ball back so well in those positions. But just don't be so cute with it. If there's no one on, just go along with it. Like every now and then it's okay to do that. I know we don't want to lose the ball there, but it's really poor from Rice, and I'm not sure Ray can do much. I don't think he gets his body in the way great. It's not. I don't even think it's a great finish, but it's point blank. I don't think he's going to do much with it really. But it's really frustrating from Rice. I was really annoyed with him for about 20 minutes until the Gyökeres banger went in, Neil.
Yeah, it's a hard one to sit there and have a little dig at Rice, because he has been. Let's be honest, he's been so good this season, Jack.
Probably our best player.
Yeah, he's definitely, if not, but he's definitely up there, isn't he, in the top 2 or 3? And he is our leader. A lot of us I've definitely said that maybe him or Gabriel should really be considered as captain officially. But so he's in high regard basically, no matter what he might be saying, not on camera, after games or before games or whatever it is. The point is, he's the one that does the talking. He does actually show that, and it is ironic that he was doing all of this stuff. That was actually after when they were celebrating the first goal. And I kind of caught off, just a bit to digress, caught a glimpse of Eze's face, and he seemed a bit unhappy by it, because it was like, I've just scored a goal against Tottenham again, my 4th goal at that point in 2 games, and here's you talking about stuff. And I think he felt a bit that his goal went a bit under appreciated or the celebration did. I don't know if you noticed that, but I've certainly felt that. But yeah, he was kind of saying, like, come on, guys. And I don't know, I think we caught some of it on camera or audio.
I didn't catch that, but I'm listening to you say it, but I've got to go back and watch that.
He was like basically just trying to say, come on, go, and he was trying to focus and all this, and then he was doing all that with his head and blah, 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 which is fine because he probably knows that, we have been, as you said, by the stats, we're very kind of susceptible to doing this. After we score, we kind of switch off a little bit, which is so dangerous, and we can't do that. And yeah, it was very uncharacteristic of him. I don't know what he was trying to do. There was a much easier way of moving the ball away, but he didn't. He's almost trying to, you're right, be cute with trying to get around the defender, and he just completely messes it up. And you knew, when I watched it back, I thought, oh, he scored that. Immediately, you just know.
Yeah, you could just see it.
What? It was 30 seconds after the restart or something stupid, Jack. It was ridiculous. Yeah, so we didn't have time even to build on that good start, because I think we started off really well. I mean, I remember, I know again we're going to talk about him as well, but right, very near the beginning, the Geek had a really good chance that just went wide. It might have been laid off by Declan Rice himself, ironically.
Yeah, he done really well.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic effort. It just went wide. So, we'd had all of this good start, got the goal, and then we go and do that, which is really very off-putting. And then, as you said, he does the exact opposite in the other half, in the second half, and it's only through Raya's amazing flexibility and instincts that he stops, which leads to Richarlison's ball almost trickling over the line. And it's Raya's instincts that stopped that. So that was crucial. That would have been 3-2. And then all of us are going to be like, oh, no, oh, God.
About 10 minutes left, yeah.
Yeah. So Rice, that was very uncharacteristic. But I have to say, in between, he actually played well. He kind of atoned for it. And I think this is the thing that we need, Jack. Players make a mistake. They get their heads down. They shouldn't. They've got to keep going. And that's what I love about his character. That's what I love about his mentality. So, yeah, we can sit here and criticise him, but I think he did try and atone for it, because he knew himself. He was smiling when they got the equaliser. If you had a glimpse of him, he's laughing. He's probably thinking, what an idiot. I'm the one doing that, and then I go and mess it up myself. But he didn't get his head down, and he was very professional forward.
He was. So, I don't think he's got getting a big ego or anything like that, but I don't think it's in a sense this might not be a terrible thing, because I mean he's been a great player for us this season. He's definitely up there, like you said, top 2, top 3, but that was a really poor error, and I was actually more frustrated by the second one, because I honestly think it's exactly the same thing. Like, if you watch it, it's exactly the same thing. Like, he does the same thing. I'm like, I think at that point we're like 3-1 up, 10 minutes left. There's no, at that point, you clear it down the field. You know what I mean? Just clear it. Just get it out of harm's way. Especially with what's happened recently with late goals conceded and all that kind of stuff. Just don't be too cute with it. So just, like we said, since January, we're having these silly errors that are leading to goals from nothing. I mean, Tottenham hadn't entered our half, in the whole game, and I think we were in the 35th minute, basically. But then you go in at half-time 1-1, and we've had, a lot of, like you said, the Gyökeres chance. There's a few others in there. Trossard had one that just went past the post that deflected. Should have, don't know how that didn't go in. There was a few, and somehow you go in at 1-1. I just remember sitting there at half-time thinking, this is...
The Saliba header as well. That was painful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And... just thinking, well, how are we at 1-1? But at the same time, it's quite typical of what we've seen over the past few weeks, in us. But I did think, in the back of my head, I was like, we are so much more creative in this game. No, we are. And Gyökeres from that shot, you could tell he was sort of physically more controlling of their centre-backs. Obviously they didn't have Romero and stuff like that, but he was much more able to sort of, use his body a little bit more that he's not been able to do against some of the big six sides, at times where he's been accused of that. But what a great start to the second half, Neil. I mean, we start so fantastically well, and it's a brilliant ball in from Timber, who's got a lot of assists this season already. I think Timber's got, for a fullback, let me have a quick look here. Timber's got I think he's got 5 assists, maybe, something like that. No, it says 2 goals and 3 assists. That's weird. Oh, five goal contributions overall. That's it. But still, again, for a right back, it's not bad, is it? Halfway through the season, or just over halfway through the season. But it's a great early ball in, and I think Eze's run into Van de Ven is absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm watching it going, do we see the best of Gyökeres when we're kind of putting a player behind him that almost is a bit more of a second striker rather than a midfielder? Do you know what I mean? Because if I think of his best games, Gyökeres, they've always been with Havertz or Eze, and they're more sort of free roaming attacking players, in the sense that Havertz kind of feels like he is the 9, and Eze certainly less. He doesn't fall as deep as Odegaard, in terms of picking up the ball. He likes to pick into those pockets of space in behind the striker. So I just wonder, I just think Eze's movement was huge, but then after that it's really I think the biggest moment of Gyökeres' Arsenal career so far, really. I think it's a fantastic goal in a big game, and he's answered a lot of questions with that performance and that goal, I think, Neil.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually, including pundits, are saying that's probably his best game in an Arsenal shirt.
It was, yeah.
Because it wasn't just about the 2 goals, it was actually what he did throughout the whole game, to be fair. And I think, again, you nailed it. It's about his body, the way he used his body throughout the game, actually. It wasn't just for the goals. It's just the strength. And this is the guy that we wanted from the start of the season. I was speaking to, I think you met in Mickey earlier, actually yesterday or today for you. And I said, look, he still had a few goals, but if you look at his performance so far, you'd say the first 60% of where we are today with where we are at February, coming to the end of February. So say for the first 60% of what we've seen him so far was probably average, but nowhere near expectation. But the last 40%, certainly since the beginning of the year, we've seen a different player. And then to do it against our biggest rivals, although a lot of people probably don't see it like that anymore. I'd say Brentford are probably harder than Tottenham, or there's a lot more other London derbies which are harder. But yeah, they're still in the traditional sense. This is the one, the 199th North London derby, and it's the pressure as well from what happened against Wolves, and then from that, obviously all the spotlight's going to be on your main striker, Jack. It's going to be. Because that's who you look to score goals and to get us out of this little bit of a fragile situation, let's say. And it didn't show at all. It looked like he's been banging them in and playing like that all season, didn't it? It's almost as if well, where have you been? But here I am. And his strength is amazing. But that goal, the Timbers ball was just brilliant. It just went in front of about 3 defenders, didn't it? It was so beautifully laid out for him, but he still had to do the work. Eze did tremendously for that, whether it was like a bit of a distraction thing or whatever, but he ends up on the floor, Eze, but he did his bit. So, again, some credit's got to go to him. But then let's not take away the finish. It's like an arrow. It's like a arrow shot, isn't it? There's nothing stopping that. And that's what he's got. He's got the power. He's got the accuracy. It's just about him doing everything else for him to be able to get in the position to do that. And everything fell into place, notably that shot earlier, which he just put wide. So the writing was on the walls, if you like, for him in that game. So happy for him, Jack. Oh, my God, I'm just so happy. The fact that we had Eze and him score, 2 players that have been getting a bit of pressure against Tottenham, was just brilliant to see. And there we go, we're 2-1 up, we're back happy again after that equaliser. And again, that shows our mentality that this time we didn't let our heads drop like we did against other teams. And it's good that it's away, and it's good it's against Tottenham as well. Big statement, that massive.
Yeah, you just haven't seen him get that space and being able to get those shots off on a regular basis in the Premier League. So what was really interesting about this game, and I do think, you've got to take the opposition into account, but this is a massive game for Tottenham. I just don't think people are quite, certainly in the media, they don't quite sort of comprehend how big a game this is for Tottenham, especially in a season where Arsenal are going for the title. They're still celebrating Man City, being involved in Man City's title win a couple of years ago, because they let Man City beat them at their own ground. The fact that they've taken 5 points off Man City this season and absolutely none of us is absolutely hilarious. So let's fingers crossed that's a good omen. That is hilarious, I have to say. And the only reason that happened is because they played City in the first game of the season, I think, and even they're not silly enough to argue that they're going against Arsenal in the first game of the season. You have no idea what's going to happen. So that was almost a blessing in disguise. And in the second game, I have no idea how they actually equalised it. I don't even think their own players know how that happened. I think it was just Thomas Frank having his little Arsenal is a silver member moment. But before he heads off into the sunset and watches us from his club seat. But it's just it's just that is quite laughable. So I think there was so many times in this game where he just looked like he had more space. He looked a little faster to me. He looked a little bit lighter, like he looked like less heavy-footed. Do you know what I mean? And I was watching it going, and it almost sort of made me feel that moment against Burnley away, where he was so involved, and then he got injured. And it kind of, it really, even though it was only like a 3-4 week injury, it really set him back, because you can tell with Gyökeres, the one thing about him is he really needs to play regular minutes. Like, he's just someone that he's like I always compare him to Sol Campbell. It's like, never get Sol Campbell out of the team, because if you do, it's going to take ages to get him fit again. It's almost like he's just a player that had to play match minutes to get fit. And this was the first game I've kind of watched Gyökeres and thought, he looks really fit here, a little bit lighter. He's holding off centre backs. He still goes down a little bit too easy for me personally, but he does. He really. I think in this game he wasn't battling the centre backs as much. He was making the runs down the channel. He was getting away from them, and looking for that ball early and stuff like that. And his movement was really, really good. He was an absolute menace for him, wasn't he? So Neil, we haven't talked about his second goal yet, but he's got 17 goal contributions in all competitions, most since Lacazette in a debut season for Arsenal. Lacazette had 18, I think. I think I've got that number right. And he's got 10 Premier League goals now already. So now it's looking, and I think he's got the most goals out of anyone in the Premier League since the start of January.
Correct.
Which is also, so we've got a guy there, hopefully we have, that's hitting form at just the right time, Neil. But I've been super critical of Gyökeres. James probably listening to this going, hold on a minute, Jack. But I have been super critical of him. But a lot of the things he did in this game is stuff that I haven't seen him do, and that might be partly because of the team. I mean, that ball from Timber, do we see that into him early? Maybe not. So it's definitely partly to do with the team. But at the same time, I'm watching this going, this is a Gyökeres that I've not seen in an Arsenal shirt, really, and that's really, really exciting to me. But you sense that when he scored it, he kind of, it kind of even lifted him an extra sort of 10% as well, because his performance continued to get better as well. And it must feel really, really good, because it's a huge game. It's for Arsenal, to score away at Tottenham, no matter what they're like. That's a real big statement goal. I know he's had others against Chelsea in the Cup and Atletico and Inter, but this was a big goal, a good goal in a big game, and it felt a little different to me. I hope he feels that as well. We spoke about him maybe not feeling at home, and you said that about him not feeling confident. I hope maybe that spurs him on to another level even, Neil. I don't know.
Well, the fact that he went and scored another one, it suggests that he could feel that now he's part of the whole makeup of this club. Maybe he felt a little bit on the fringes, on the outside, like looking in, not being part of it. Didn't feel like he was maybe an integral cog, and he was having to work that much harder to try and get him in. And maybe that was part of the problem. Maybe in the games that we played and we wanted more from him, he was trying too hard, or he felt that, and he must know about the pressure. All the players must know about all the social media pressure that everyone is subject to, rightly or wrongly. The fact is that is the way of the world now. And it's a part of life, and we've all got to, either we're contributors or we're just observers, and we think that maybe they don't deserve it, they do deserve it, whatever it is, they are aware. That's the thing. So there was a lot of pressure on him, and then for him to play the way he did, and you're absolutely right, he looked leaner.
Yeah.
And that's it's only good for us, isn't it? Being leaner but not losing that strength as well, and being able to still hold on with using his body and just hold defenders back. I mean, it's so telling in his second goal, isn't it? The way he did that, and that's what I like about him. I think you're right. You made a point earlier, which you said about having someone almost like acting as a second striker. Who was I speaking to that was saying, I wouldn't be averse to, bringing back a 4-4-2 in the team, which might help him.
Well, it almost feels a bit more like that when you play Eze or Havertz.
Exactly.
Doesn't it?
And to be honest, look, and I will still say it because I still think it's true. I felt that really it was only Trossard, Eze, and Havertz that were kind of looking for him in games past. When we talk about service, and I felt that Saka and Odegaard weren't doing that as much. Now, the facts are the facts. Whether there is a rhyme or reason for it, whether it's deliberate or not, the fact is that was the case. And I remember that. Do you remember that game that Havertz was in and they were both playing? We even talked about it. We said he looked so much more comfortable with Havertz there, didn't he? Havertz. They seem to have. We talk about relationships in football, Jack. And we were thinking that could be one for the future, them two together and pairing up really well and causing defences a hell of a lot of problems. But we just saw that. And I haven't seen a pass from a fullback to Gyökeres, I don't think, this season. Not like that anyway.
No.
So are we now aware that, look, he's the man. Let's try and get the ball to him as much as we can. And that's what that first goal of his showed. Yeah. So I think it's a good omen, Jack. Look, I know it's only one game. You're right. It is just one game. We can't sit there thinking, the quality of the opposition and let's marvel at that. But you still can't take away the factors of the pressure, what the game is, what it means to the fans more than anything else, what it means to the club. And also being away from home too. I know it's only down, in London still, but it's still away fixture is away fixture. So much pressure. And I don't think he felt it. He carried his head high and I think he was enjoying himself. That's another big thing. He seemed really happy. I saw him smiling so many times. Hopefully this is a new man. And it's come at the right season. Maybe a new signing, Jack.
Yeah, maybe, and you forget as well with, I think now, because football is so, it's so in the moment, you forget all those sort of adages that Wenger used to talk about, how, players coming from foreign countries need a minimum of 6 months to settle and all that sort of stuff. And you kind of, eradicate that. And you eradicate that because sometimes you see a player like Zubimendi fold into it and you go, wow, why isn't everyone like this? But it's not always like that for everybody, and even Gyökeres, who played in England but not really in the Prem, that kind of stuff. And you don't know, I hope, we've started to feel, because the issue we had was not just that Gyökeres wasn't playing well enough, in my opinion, was that we didn't seem to know how to get the best of it out of him. It was definitely the both of that. And like you said, the combination of Odegaard, I know Odegaard, funnily enough, gives him the assist for the final goal here, but generally speaking, that the connection has never really felt like it's there between them. And what was I think we're starting to see a bit more with Saka, because I've always thought it was just a quality thing with Saka. I'm like, he'll provide for anyone if he's playing well, but if he's not playing well, that's the bigger issue. So if you get Saka playing well, I think he'll end up just providing for everyone because he's too pivotal to what we do. But I've never really felt that with Odegaard and Gyökeres. I've just never really seen the sort of connection, and maybe it's because Odegaard sometimes is not quite as connected with his centre forward. He's not quite close enough. Like Eze was, that run that he made, I just watching that again, I'm like, that's just not a run that I'd see Odegaard make. He'd be dropping deep for that, looking for the ball to feet from Timber and looking to play from there. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a little bit different, a little bit more direct. You saw it from Nketiah in the first half as well, when he played that ball early and through to Saka. Saka should score. They give it offside. It's 1-on-1 with a keeper, and he should score. They give it offside. It's not offside. It's not offside at all. It was a really big chance, Saka, and he missed a couple of sitters here. Luckily, his second one, Eze turned in. But yeah, no, Neil, I think absolutely standout performance from Gyökeres, absolutely brilliant. And I thought Eze was pivotal to his second goal. Really, I think he deserved that goal. as much as I was annoyed with Saka for not finishing it, it all comes from Eze winning the ball and then running onto it. He never takes the extra touch, Eze, either. I have to say, I really love Eze. When he does well, he scores. I'm just like, oh, this guy is just all Arsenal. And you can tell he's one of those players that's just like a fan. So he's so excited when he scores. I mean, he's breakdancing after this goal. It was hilarious. But no, Neil, I think he was pivotal to winning the ball back and that quick interchange with Saka. And I think Gyökeres might have been involved as well in that interchange. I can't even remember now.
He was.
I think he was, wasn't he? Yeah, so it was a really good little...
deft touch.
Yeah, so again, it's that link up that we're talking about, isn't it?
It's funny how they both helped each other in that game. Because Eze was helpful in Gyökeres' first goal, and then he kind of returns the compliment. But it's Eze's strength and his determination to win the ball back, because they had the ball going forward and he just gets it back, doesn't he? Again, his foot high, kind of the way he's positioning his, I don't know, he's just got that kind of player. It looked like an uncomfortable way of winning the ball back, but he does. And then you see, it's like just a very subtle little touch from Geek. Just a really... Yeah,
I'm rewatching it now just because I don't remember the touch, but I remember him involved.
There you go. And then of course, then he lays it on to Saka, but from there, Saka doesn't do as well as maybe he should have, but the ball, again, we get a little bit fortuitous the way the ball falls for Eze, but he's quick to it. He's quick to it, and then it's all over. There's no way. He's so fast to it, and it wasn't even a big open space, but he just finds the angle, bang, in the and I think it's just confidence as well, isn't it? I think we're talking about Gyökeres earlier, and saying that he needs minutes, he needs match time to keep that fitness like Sol Campbell. But I think he might be a bit of a confidence player as well. I'm starting to say,
possibly.
So I think that comes into it, and maybe the same with Eze, because he hasn't had the minutes. 8 starts, but only 360 minutes. It's not a lot of time, really. Jack, that's 3 games? If my maths is correct.
Is that since turn of the year, is it?
Since the North London derby.
Oh, since the North London derby.
I think so, yeah. So it's not, well, more or less. So it's not a great deal. But having said that, I think he made his own celebration. Where I felt that Rice cut his celebration short in the first goal, he thought, you're not going to do that this time. I'm bloody having a breakdance on the floor, mate. I loved it. It was hilarious. Yeah. And then, does he look at the Tottenham fans and do that gesture? I'm not sure. Was it our fans? I'm not sure.
That's the first goal. Because the first goal, before Rice does his bit, I've not seen that. He runs over and they're all holding their hands, and he does this little watch, kind of such a oozes so much confidence, when he does it. And he just, it's funny because I follow a couple of Palace fans as well, like the big sort of accounts, and I always used to argue with them years ago about Eze, but I always felt Eze was better than Elise, and I think Elise is obviously a terrific player, and he's showing that by, and so they definitely. And I remember, I think I said to you boys on the chat, this was a few years ago when we were linked to Eze, I said, Elise must be great because Palace fans thinks he's better than Eze, and I don't, but I always trust the own fan base before yourself. So I was like, okay, from my perspective, but I don't watch you every week, so But the other thing they always say about Eze is they have this sort of theory that when the sun starts to shine, Eze just starts to play to another level, like almost as it hits sort of spring. And I never really knew what they meant, but I'm so hopeful that's what that's what they mean by obviously he won, helped them win the cup, and he was absolutely pivotal to all those sort of knockout rounds and scoring in semi-final and final and stuff like that. And I think I've been talking a lot about this with John and a few other people offline, is if you're going to win it, and you're going to go and you're going to win a title, you need some people that have won big things and been there. And it might be, that's no offense to Palace, but that's probably the biggest thing Palace are going to win. Do you know what I mean? That's a huge thing for him. He knows how to go and win that. Obviously, you got Rice who won maybe the conference with West Ham. The other one I talk about a lot is Hincapié having won the Bundesliga a couple of years ago. And Havertz won in the Champions League. We don't have a lot of that. We certainly don't have as much of it as City. So those players are really sort of important to have in and around, I think, the first 11 in this time period, because there's no doubt about it. On Wednesday, I think we were nervy, and it was more a mental thing than a footballing thing, because we couldn't even connect passes. It was just ridiculous. And you know, and City have, you know, they've won many before, and Pep's, you know, it got a ridiculous record in them. So you've got to have those sort of players around. And I just think when he looked so confident after his first goal. I mean, even before that second goal, he has that sort of move down the left where he just goes past Paulinho, and he probably should lay it off to Gyökeres and tries to shoot, and I think it gets blocked. But he just looks so free and flowing. And I was like, oh, this is an Eze we've not seen for weeks. Like, this is brilliant. I guess we should discuss, just before, as we've discussed the third goal, but at 2-1, there was that moment, wasn't there? And what do you think about that, Neil? That Gabriel foul moment?
Well, I'll be honest. I suppose I can, because we won 4-1 anyway, thrashed them. And I first saw it, I felt Gabriel goes down so easily.
He has a habit of this.
And I thought, Jesus. I thought, how was that not given? I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest, and I don't know. But then he does get 2 hands on his back, not one. And the letter of the law is, that's a foul. And let's be honest, Jack. Let's be brutally honest. Not just this season. Probably not so much. It hasn't been highlighted this season, because I do love. I will never forget what you said last season or the season before last. Let's let the football do the talking, and let's not let the referees and the stupid decisions overrun us, or be the talking points. We've always had that ridiculous, almost bias, or whatever you might want to call it, controversy against us. So let's the football do the work, and I think that's what we've done predominantly this season. But at the same time, you can't ignore we've been on the wrong end of so many suspicious and suspect decisions that even if this happened to be the wrong decision, you know, we're getting a bit of payback. But however, it wasn't, because even I think it was even Neville, believe it or not, he said straight away, it's a foul. It's not going to give it. It's not going to be given. It's a foul. It doesn't matter how lightly Gabriel went down. By the letter of the law, it's a foul. Yeah. And the referee was right in front of it. So we then may have argued that if it was given, we might be having a different conversation now. We might be saying, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, he does go down lightly, but it's a foul. How's that been given? So did you see, the outcome was probably the right one, or is the right one. But Gabriel, that does make a bit of a drama out.
Well, I said,
I don't know what you think, but
oddly enough, I said, I don't know if it happened recently in the last week or so. Well, it did. Obviously, the Wolves' second goal, I think, is more rare than Gabriel. But again, Gabriel has this, you know, if he's got one weakness, he has this habit of getting sort of underneath balls, I kind of argue it. And so, like, if you think about Newcastle's first goal at St James's Park this season, he argued it was a foul from Vaultmead, and it was the same thing, but you knew because they didn't give it, they were never going to overturn it for a foul. You knew, and I think it was one of those that if they give the foul, it will stay as a foul. You know, it was kind of, they'll stick with the referee on decision, because like you say, letter of the law in the back is. Now, there's been other times where Jollington at St James's Park 2 years ago, where it's been such an obvious foul, and they still haven't given it, that I've been like, oh, I mean that, if you remember, there was about 4 reasons that goal shouldn't have stood, but one of them was Jollington doing this, literally shoving him to the ground. We all know now Jollington's a thug on the pitch, and at the same time as doing that, the ball hits his arm as well. That's 2 reasons. Ball went out was the 3rd reason. It was also offside. There was a 4th reason. I still think it's not the worst decision, because we've had one where against Brentford at home, when we were 5 points clear, where they just didn't draw the lines and no one's talked about it again. But out of those 2, I still think we've had 2 of the worst decisions in the last decade, and no one talks about either of them, which is odd. But in terms of this one, yeah, I think it's a little soft, like you said, and I think Gabriel has to be really careful there, because, he definitely got shoved in the back, sure, but could easily have gone the other way. And if he didn't blow the whistle there, I don't think they're overturning it. I don't think they're looking back at it and going, that's enough to rule out, kind of thing. So we did get a little lucky there, and I think a 2-2, you would have gone, oh gosh, you know, are we in this sort of tentative stage again, you know? So we had a couple of, even though it was such a dominant performance, you know, 20 shots to 6, it was just such a dominant performance. We had a couple of moments, that moment, and then obviously when it was 3-1, we just talked about the Charleston one. In fairness to Rice, it wasn't as bad as the first one. I just rewatched it. It's a ball over the top that he kind of miscontrols. It's not like he's got the ball under control and trying to clear it and doesn't, kind of thing. Or he actually doesn't even try to clear it for the first goal. He just tries to go past Moani. I don't know why. But it's still poor from Rice. But it's absolutely fantastic from Raya, isn't it? And so glad Richarlison doesn't score.
What a brilliant... I think contortionist he is. I think he practices. That's his hobby, mate. Because the way he's just so bendy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really quick-footed, very agile.
Unbelievable. The way we've talked about those double saves he's made in the past. That I still can't get over one of them that I saw. The way he's so ability to save a ball
away,
literally contort his body and then do it again. It's like, what's he made of, this man? I still look. He's made a couple of errors this season, which is probably not great. But I would still suggest that he's up there as one of the best keepers in the world, Jack. And we're lucky to have him at the moment. And what do they all say? You know, we always talk about two or three big factors. You say the one which I think we've been doing too much of this season. We are not playing well, but you find a way to win. But the other big one is good goalkeepers win you titles. They could save you 12 to 15 points a season, and that's effectively 2 points there potentially. I know we were still been in the lead, but you know,
about 10 minutes left.
This game, it has got a few fine margin moments, hasn't it? You got that. You got the penalty decision that didn't go. Not the penalty, sorry, the foul by Gabriel, which would have meant that their goal stood. Then you got this one where Raya's done some unbelievable, God knows what he's done with his body to keep that ball off the line, and then it was kicked to safety, and then there may be another couple. So we I'm not saying we rode our luck because we were so utterly dominant, as you said, but these moments do help. And of course, even taking it away out of this game, when you see a goalkeeper do something like that, you know that right. We're a tough defence to beat, but if we are breached, we've got a very, very high standard big keeper between the sticks that we can rely on. And that's so important for confidence building, not just for the goalkeeper's perspective, but for the defence as a whole, because they know that, God, he's so damn good that even if we do let one get through us, we've got someone there behind him. And I think that is so important going into the last few weeks of the season, Jack. So it's a massive save, not just for this match, but I think for the context going forward as well. Because, Raya, we know he's capable of doing it. We've seen Seaman do some extraordinary stuff, when that goal in the semi-final that time. Raya's got that ability about him too. And it's amazing that he's not the tallest of keepers, but yet you feel he's such a presence in the box.
Yeah, so he's fantastic from
brilliant stuff from him,
especially after a bit of a poor performance midweek. But a couple of the could argue the Wolves goal, certainly the second one. Some people argue the positioning on the first one against Wolves as well, but certainly the second one where he comes out for it, where I think Gabriel probably has it, is it's a little bit on him, And but
first time I've seen him panic. First time I've seen him panic
in a long time. Yeah, it was poor, but he's responded really well. It was great to see some of the celebrations. Obviously, the fourth goes in. Some people saying they love the fourth from Gyökeres more than his first one, but his second one more than his first one, because the way he holds off the defender and good ball from Odegaard, but then he holds him off and puts it in, and it's all the stuff that like we said before, that we've seen him go through like that before and not get his shot away or not hold off the defender Forest away. Other times that he's had those moments, so it just felt really good, and he kind of topped off his performance there. A couple of other things that I noticed during I thought Mosquera was fantastic when he came on for Timber. I thought it was such a clever sub as well, because we didn't have Ben White, and as soon as I heard Mosquera's got his training top off, I texted into the thread. I went, he's coming on for Timber here for sure, because he was on a booking, Timber, and you could just tell about 5 minutes before he was really lagging again. I was. Well, a lot of people were saying they thought Ben White might start this one because of how tired he looked in midweek. Timber, again, remembering we've played like 3 games since Tottenham last played, so it was. But he came on Mosquera, and he was good going forward. He was good defensively. I think he won the second most tackles in the game after Hincapié, even though he only played 30 minutes. I was watching it thinking, you might actually be pushing yourself ahead of Ben White here, because Ben White cannot keep himself fully fit. He's always in and out of squads. And defensively, you're better than him. no doubt about it. There's always a worry Ben White against tricky wingers. We've always had it for many a year. Maybe there wasn't so much in that year that he played fully, but in the last 18 months we've always had that worry. And I watched it and I thought, oh, that's a really interesting substitution. I bet you he uses that again. And I wonder, I mean, again, Ben White will come back into squads, but I wonder if Mosquera he might be looking at that going, might use Ewer there again. So I thought that was really an interesting sub. And then obviously, there was a few other subs in there that they did well. Odegaard gets his assist with a nice little layoff and things like that, which is nice too, which is great. You want him to get back fit and things like that. He's going to play a pivotal role as well, so that's really important. But overall, Neil, fantastic win. Got to get your predictions though before. Obviously, I'm sure you've loved all the social media stuff and laughing at Tottenham for the last 48 hours like I have. It's quite nice that we don't have I have, yeah, I've been loving it. It's quite nice that we don't have like a Tuesday or Wednesday game, so we can actually sort of enjoy it. Usually we've got another game a day later to enjoy it a bit. But Neil, we've got Chelsea next. Massive game at home. Got to win. What's your predictions and scorer?
Just very quickly before I say that, I just want to say that even when you look at Gyökeres' second goal, the build up to it was nice. It involved Martinelli, Madueke, and Odegaard.
Yeah,
and that was by winning the ball back again. I felt that was the one thing we were doing so well. We weren't we weren't giving them any opportunities, any space. We were just hunting them down constantly throughout the game. That's one thing that really annoys me and frustrates me about us. Why can't we do that for every match, or at least for the majority of each match that we play in? We don't do enough of that. We've got the ability to do it, Jack. We've got to do it. So, but what a finish. Oh, man, I was so pleased. When that went in, I was like, yes, Thierry Henry, your heart out. That's for you, sir. That's almost a tribute goal to you. So I loved it so much. But speaking about Chelsea, I think the fact that we've overcome them recently in the semi-final of the League Cup, they're going to be a little bit frightened of us. You know what? When their manager was appointed, I loved the way he spoke. I heard him and thought, God, this guy can really speak well, but he's so full of himself on the pitch and pitch side, isn't he? I get that impression. He acts as if he's won like 10 quadruples in a row already. Like, you ain't won nothing, mate. Yeah, just shut up and sit down.
Yeah. He does an interview a day as well. He does an interview a day. It's just odd, and he comes out with really odd statements. Yeah, he's been there.
I really got the wrong impression of him. I thought, he's really well spoken, and then I'm like thinking, no, you're a dickhead. So, another Chelsea manager, would you expect? So, I just want to wipe his swagger off his face. I think the fact that we've beaten the semi-final holds us in good stead. Be interesting to see if he sticks with Eze. I think he might.
He's got to.
I think he might. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got. He can't score a goal, a brace like that in Derby and drop him out. I don't think he can.
Because then that will push him back down again.
Yeah,
I think like we said earlier, I think he needs to play. So I think he may stick to pretty much how it was.
Yeah, I think he will.
Why would you change it? Change it? I wouldn't. And I'm hoping, again digressing, I'm just hoping Kai comes back sooner rather than later because he's such a wonderful player.
Yeah, be good to get him back in the squad, wouldn't it?
And it will be so important for us, especially with we're lucky. Is this not the first week without a game for ages? Like we've got a 6-day break or 7-day break. It's been ages, Jack, isn't it? So we've got to utilise that, get the players all like fresh again, especially the likes of Timber. Yeah. And just hit them where it hurts. Mate, I'm 3-1. 3-1.
Yeah, first score?
Gyökeres.
Oh yeah, like it. I'll go 2-1 Eze. 2-1 Eze. Take either of those though. Neil, it's been a pleasure. Did run over by about 10 minutes. Apologies.
Sorry.
No, my fault. Well, it's hard, it's Derby. Still probably our shortest post-Derby one. Let's be honest. It's probably
yeah. You're right.
Probably, yeah. And it was a very enjoyable one. I'm still watching. If you're watching clips back still a day or so later, then you had a good time watching it, don't you?
Enjoy it. We've got a few days before the next one. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Let's be honest. It's a very stressful season. I mean, you don't get a lot of.
So take it.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's that's genuinely what I'm trying to do. I was watching it thinking, do you know what? You got to take these moments and really try to sort of savour them, and hopefully they lead to something big. Their fingers crossed. But
and it was our biggest North London win, wasn't it? Since 1978.
Was it at their place? Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Nice.
Amazing. Yeah, some brilliant stats coming out from it. So really, really good. We're at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter. You can follow us at Purely Arsenal on YouTube. Subscribe there. No adverts. All free of charge as usual. And we'll be back after the Chelsea game. Fingers crossed. Up the Arsenal. Thank you, Neil.